All right. Hey, welcome back. It's good to see you, Zuber. I
Yes,
love doing
thank you.
this every week with you. I just got done with an hour and a half live with Mark, financial firefighter, and Gus O'Feely.
Hmm.
And we're talking about assets, real estate
Sure.
specifically. And we got a comment. Someone said, you should always borrow on a 15-year mortgage. 15 years is a winning product.
Hmm.
And, that's a different perspective that I don't agree with. What are your thoughts on that?
So let's kind of step back because again, this is kind of very Dave Ramsey-esque. But obviously, Dave Ramsey is talking about owner occupants, right? Get a 15-year mortgage, or worse yet, get a 30-year but pay it 15, which by the way, nobody does. They say it, but they never do it. Was this conversation about owner occupants, or was somebody actually recommending investors get a 15-year mortgage versus 30? What are we talking about?
Well, this guy's perspective is you build a portfolio of about 15 rentals. And I guess
Okay.
he loves the number 15, and you put all of them on a 15-year mortgage. That was the idea. You buy it as an investment on a 15-year AM, and over 15 years, you get it paid off. And I've done a lot of math on this. As an investor, that doesn't work. You're negative.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, to the question at hand, how should I say this in the nicest way possible? This is a rather risky strategy because, again, there's one thing to say get a 30-year mortgage, but pay it like 15. That
Mm-hmm.
way, when things go bad, you can fall back to a 30-year. But if you're in a 15-year mortgage, you have no fallback plan. And, you know, I think it's cute to talk about one. It's obviously going to be negative cash flow. I mean, I can't think of any part of the country that would cash flow on a 15-year mortgage unless you're putting 50% down. I mean, I haven't done the math, but maybe at 50% down, it makes sense. But the problem with this strategy, as I see it, isn't how sexy it gets at year 15 or year 16. It's frankly how ugly it gets at year 11, right? At year 11, year 10, year 12, you've now got somewhere between 10 and 12 rentals that are all negative. Now, it's possible year one and year two are positive because of rent increases. But to me, there's some breaking point for most investors where the negative carry eats you alive. And I say this as somebody who had a friend. He was a vice president. I talk about it in my first book, One Rental at a Time, who was bragging about buying properties in Louisiana after Katrina because they did some kind of tax change where it incentivized rich or wealthy people to invest there. I don't know the details. All I know is he took me in his office, and on his whiteboard, he had 4 or 6 homes. And at the bottom of the chart was a red number with a box around it. And I'm looking at it going, so you're going to buy 4 or 6, let's call it 6 homes, and you're going to lose at least $300 a month on purpose? Oh, Michael, you don't understand. I'm a big shot. I make all this money. I could easily afford to lose $2,000. But I'm like, dude, that's $2,000 best case. Fully rented, no rent collection, no repairs, none of this. Like, there'll be months where that's $4,000 or $6,000. And, long story short, he thought he was smarter than me. Long story short, he bought them all. And long story short, he sold 5 of them and foreclosed on one of them. And his credit was ruined for 7 years. So no, I think this strategy for most people probably feels good at year one. You're like unit 1, unit 2, probably gets very stressful somewhere between unit 8 and 12. And then at year 16, probably pretty sexy. So, there's some maximum pain point in there that I don't think most people can get over.
Yeah, I'm not in the business of being an alligator farmer. I think
No,
that's what we
exactly.
call it. Yeah.
Alligator's bad.
Yeah. But the reason that I'm against it, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, the
Sure.
idea is you get a little better rate
Sure,
and
for
you
sure.
get out of debt a lot faster.
Of course.
But the back end of the strategy was to cash out refi and live off of the tax-free money. So my thought is, if you're going to go debt-free, just to, if you have one staggered every year, at year 16, you do a cash out refi every year on another 15-year AM, and then forever you're in debt again. I'm like, why not just be in debt on a 30 and not tax your cash flow.
That's a very good that's a very good point. Because again, it's one thing to roll off the debt and then by year 30, you have 15 free and clear. That's one strategy, which again, I could squint at and kind of look sideways and go, okay, I get the strategy, kind of Dave Ramsey-esque. But if you're just going to put new debt on it every year, that seems kind of, why? I don't get it.
And I think he's in his journey to get there. So he's trying to prove concept, which is, so be it.
It's cute. Yeah.
But to tax yourself, and this is what I want to get across for people, you got to think, do I want to pay to get the benefit later, or do I want to get paid to get the benefit later? Even if I pay an extra quarter point interest, or I should say, even if my tenants pay an extra quarter point interest to be on a 30, then a 15, if I'm getting paid to do that, I can do a cash out refi in 15 years anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. This is where, again, I don't really know the ins and outs that this guy was talking about, but yeah, if the whole idea is I'm just going to refi anyway, just put a 30-year on it. It provides better flexibility. Sure, it gets you a worse rate, acknowledge, but the payment's less. You have less mortgage pay down. I get it, but your tenants are doing that anyway. And then you could refi year 15 anyway, right? And again, in an inflationary environment, fiat currency, you want to get the longest term possible. Also, the dollar at year 30 is going to be much cheaper at the dollar at year 15. So why not stretch that as long as possible? That misses basic logic to me too.
Have you ever done a 15-year mortgage?
Never. I would never do it. I would never do a 15-year mortgage on an investment property, and I would never do a 15-year mortgage on an owner-occ. I have taken my owner-occ and paid it off faster, but I want maximum flexibility. Once you get into a mortgage with a set term, 5, 10, 15 years, you have no wiggle room. I have no problem stretching the term and paying it off early. I am paying off one of my homes at about a 10-year clip. But if I ever had a bad month, I just wouldn't do that. But yes, I personally would never get a 15.
Just trying to think of any other perspective, because I think that's something now that, you got the school community, you've got like 600 different perspectives in there.
Yes.
And this gentleman's not in the community yet. He might be able to benefit from it, but
yeah, maybe.
I'm trying to see the perspective.
It'd be wild if he posted that in the forum and guys, what do you think 15 verse 3? I bet he'd get a lot of comments.
I struggle to see the perspective. You're like handcuffing yourself in a bad spot.
You're Gary. Again, I don't know the math. Maybe he's putting a monster down payment, and maybe that, like, if you put 50% down and you want a 15-year mortgage, no problem, because you still have cash flow. It's a shitty yield. It's a terrible return. But hey, at the end of the day, cash flow is cash flow. So, okay. But yeah, if you're doing 20%, I'm not even sure a lender would approve that, right? You're going to have to get a DSCR loan, and your DSCR is going to be below 1. That actually, you know what? He probably doesn't get approved past 2 or 3 of these on a DSCR.
Yeah, I guess unless you make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
that was the other comment that he shared in my live with Mark, and I'm only sharing this because he put it out in the public so we can riff on it. He said, cash flow is not the only thing. I'm like, well, if you don't have, that's coming from a rich guy. Like, if you're rich, yeah, you don't need cash flow. But if you're marketing to investors, cash flow is the only thing. In the beginning, like, you need money to pay for stuff.
There are so many people that, choose to go after appreciation and say stupid shit like that. Cash flow is not everything. That, and I only say this, I don't know who it is. With 30 years of experience, I have heard hundreds of people say that, and hundreds of people regret saying that, because karma is a bitch and it's going to prove you a lesson eventually. Yeah,
it's brutal. I mean, I mentioned it, and I try not to be too harsh on lives with people.
Yeah, you never know.
Everybody's got a different perspective. But I did say straight up that they were wrong.
Yeah, it's one of the few times you would just come out and say, dude, you're wrong. Yeah.
So I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, but I just want to bring that up because there's people that are going to be watching this, and they're going to be hearing that advice. Like, if they watch a live stream and anybody can look intelligent online.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Okay. All right. Well, Cody, this is a lot of fun. Where can people find you?
Cody Davis Business Adventures on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday. I post video, and I get critiques and criticisms from people like that and many others online. So if you have something you want to see, let us know.
There you go, folks. What do you think? If you're an investor, would you ever get a 15-year mortgage? Leave a note in the comments. Let me know where I might be wrong. Appreciate you, buddy.
See ya.